Hey guys, Christopher Green, AMTV Alternative Media Television. I want to give all of you a critical update. I listened to the entire speech that President Donald John Trump gave today, along with all the CDC health officials, Ben Carson. Probably lasted about an hour and a half or something like that. There were a couple major takeaways. One, this came from the horse's mouth himself, Donald Trump. This is what he said. Expect domestic travel restrictions in the United States. This has been something that I've been warning about here on AMTV, which means this: disruptions to air travel, disruptions to interstate travel from state to state, border checks. And you need to prepare now wherever you are in the United States of America, because there's going to be these imposed restrictions coming in the coming days and weeks. Wherever you are, plan on being there in self-quarantine. Now is the time to either bug in or bug out. So you've got to make that decision for your own family, and obviously with your jobs, and as a caretaker if you have children or elderly to take care of in these kinds of things. Also, we need to use Europe as kind of the test case. Now, not just Italy is on lockdown, but Spain is on lockdown. And I expect many European nations to follow. Also, Donald Trump announced restrictions on international travel, adding the United Kingdom and Ireland today as well. So, this is pretty crazy. Think about this. You can't travel out of the country. You're stuck here in the United States of America. If you are out of the country, you are imposed to government checks, temperature checks, quarantine, subjugation, and as many Americans are probably fearing, and this is actually what I'm more concerned about, I'm less concerned about the virus, this manufactured biological terror weapon, than I am about government overreach and government abuse of power. Now, I also believe that rationing has already started. We've seen supermarkets. You saw that footage of Chad Booksam. We've been to many supermarkets across Arizona, and I was just in Hawaii as well. They are being ravaged of key staple items, not just toilet paper and paper towels and water and these kinds of things, but also meat, poultry, vegetables, fruits. And I believe there's going to be cash restrictions on cash withdrawals, limits in place, could be as soon as next week, and also government rationing of these goods. The government is only going to allow this panic buying for a certain amount of time. And Americans that think that the shelves are going to be restocked just because that's how it's always worked in your lifetime, it's not going to be the case. I hope it is. But what you're not taking into account is all of our supply lines have been shut down. And so these companies, Kroger, the grocers, Costco, Fry's, do not have inventory. And if the shipping lanes are down and the cargo is not coming in, and manufacturing has stalled and stopped in places like China and overseas, then we're going to have major supply shocks here in the country. CDC officials also said, from their own mouth, not my opinion, things are going to get dramatically worse before they get better, meaning more infections, more deaths, a more virulent, exponential spread of this deadly virus. See how this worked out? They said it was the flu, but it's not the flu. It's a biological, manufactured terror weapon that has been engineered to infect millions around the world. And it's exactly what's happening. So you need to prepare now. Again, you should have basic staples, survival food. I mentioned yesterday I have just a few emergency kits left. That's all we have available in stock and inventory. Click the link below to reserve that. If you don't have one of those, they also include medical masks, key gear, a little food and a little water, but a lot of essential gear that you're going to need. The masks to put on your face, if they're manufacturing some, I think Pence said like 300 million or 30 million or something like that. 3M is going to start manufacturing this stuff. And the reason I have them in our kits is because it's all been pre-packed in inventory from months and months and months ago. Gloves also too. Think about when you pump gas and you're putting your hand and how contagious that is at the gas pump. So I think gloves are very key. I'd be getting gloves right now. Cash out of the banks. I would, gas. I think gas is going to be rationed soon as well. So this is a total state lockdown. As I reported yesterday, the National Guard has already been rolled out into 8 states. That is an unofficial declaration of martial law. And We have never seen anything like this in history. This is unprecedented. Even for somebody who's expected this and has, in a sense, predicted this, it's still very tough to watch and see it happen in real life because, I mean, this truly is our Pearl Harbor World War II moment. I'm expecting deteriorating conditions for the next year, at least. I also believe that the United States of America and the globe is entering a worldwide depression that we never got out of in 2008-09 as a result of all the bailouts and the stimulus and the shenanigans and the manipulation and the criminal activity at the Federal Reserve. We are experiencing a deflationary collapse across asset classes. Stocks, real estate is going to absolutely crater. I would expect the prices on all durable goods and large purchase items like cars, luxury items to just absolutely plummet. Gold has sold off quite a bit in recent days, which normally it typically does when there's a collapse like this and everybody is trying to cover their margin calls and move to cash. Cryptos have been sold off quite dramatically as well. I do believe those two things to be incredibly bullish long term, and I think we'll hit new all-time highs, and I think you should be considering both of those things moving forward. But now, at this critical crossroads, food and water, emergency kits, that really is the greatest currency. Also, you need to consider healthcare at this time, wherever you are in the country. Do you have access to medicine and healthcare? Also, Trump announced that Google and CVS will be rolling out testing, which I would be very wary of for the coronavirus. Now, keep in mind, we still do not have digital voting. And at this rate, the U.S. election, I'm not even kidding, will be canceled. And they'll declare a war power act or resolution that will keep Donald Trump in the president as the president of the United States, much like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I'm not kidding about that. At this rate, there will not be an election. You know, we don't even have electronic voting. People aren't going to be able to get to the booths. This is an act and declaration of war. So you need to understand, and again, Google and CVS will be running these mandatory tests. If you are allowed to travel, your family is going to be subjugated to temperature checks, police state tight tactics where they can impose forced quarantines, move you through specialized airports and or camps. And of course, all these testing facilities that we warned you about, that people said was conspiracy theory, is actually what they're rolling out. Again, I'm not making any of this stuff up. Walmart, CVS, Google, all a part of the surveillance state and the camp setup that is Agenda 21 and Agenda 30. So, very, very serious. Act now, prepare now, understand as an American, and if you're tuning in around the world, your life is about to change very dramatically. And in my opinion, it's never going to be the same again. You know, hopefully this blows over. That would be the greatest outcome in a short amount of time, but they're giving no indication of that at all. And if we use foreign nations like China, Asia, even though they say China's on the decline and its infection rate has apexed, I mean, we can't trust the Chinese media. What I do know factually is that Italy is shut down, Spain is locked down. So much for that Spanish villa I was going to buy. Maybe I can get a discount after the coronavirus black plague has roiled financial markets and ceased all economic activity. Also, they announced trillions of dollars of stimulus to small businesses, loans, which you should all take advantage of if you can get access to this cheap, worthless debt, because that's what it is. And again, the only thing this assures is the collapse of the dollar and the collapse of fiat currency and the reset of this monetary system that has been intentionally engineered to implode so they can move to a new system, a new basket of currencies, potentially tied to gold, SDRs, special drawing rights, and what I also believe will be blockchain based. Two reasons why I'm very bullish on those things. So that's the overall draconian picture. You know, this is very much like the SS knocking on your door, right? If you were Jewish, they threw you in a camp. Now it's if you've got the virus, right? They're going to throw you in a camp, special restrictions, mandatory quarantine, hold you at a Walmart, force all these medical practices on you. Very, very dangerous. Again, I'm more fearful of government abuse of power, mistrust of that, and overreach than I am the actual virus. In my humble opinion, I think many of us have already been infected. I think this biological weapon has rolled through many of us otherwise healthy individuals. I just think they didn't tell us about it. They're also putting restrictions on visits to retirement homes, people in hospice, and those with predisposed conditions like the elderly, etc., which is just very sad and very, very serious. So, again, 5-alarm emergency, like we warned about. Expect financial markets to continue to implode. Absolute financial collapse. Domestic travel restrictions have been announced by the President of the United States. Testing at CVS's, Google, Walmart's to be rolled out. Interstate armed border checks, domestic travel halts, forced quarantine. And probably the biggest part of this video, in the next couple of months, I'm expecting a total lockdown and quarantine of the United States of America. That, I think, is my major overriding point. So wherever you are, expect to stay there and do not expect to leave. Now, if you think that's fear-mongering, honestly, you're not a critical thinker and you're not paying attention to what's going on in other parts of the world. Italy's on lockdown, Spain's on lockdown. The rest of European nations will be on lockdown soon. The United States is next. So you can be surprised by this, or you can prepare. I'm ready for Jesus to come back. I was telling my loved ones this morning, can he please come back? I'm ready. This is a great time. Please come back right now. Seriously. I love you guys. Also be prepared. Get our emergency kits. I only have a few left. Get them out to you in 5 to 7 business days. I love you so much, and I'll keep you posted.